It's a little cold here in Florida today, so I thought I would make my famous beef vegetable pasta soup. We love it, and I hope you love it too. For this soup, I use 1.5 pounds of stew meat. This time, I'm going to make the soup in my 8-quart stock pot. I preheat the pan on medium-high heat and add 4 tablespoons of canola oil. I have a video of a beef vegetable soup I made with my Instant Pot, and I'll put a link at the end of this video. The other soup is good too, so check it out if you're interested. I start by searing the beef in the hot oil by spreading the small chunks in one layer. I'm going to develop flavor here by creating a lot of fond, which are the brown bits at the bottom of the pan. It's important to leave the meat alone after spreading it, so you can sear it and create a brown crust on the meat as well. Let it sear for about a minute and then mix it a little to turn the pieces over the best you can. It's hard to see because of the steam, so I apologize, but it's a part of cooking. If you see that it's browning the meat too fast, turn the heat down to medium or even medium-low depending on your stove. There's a beautiful layer of fond in the pan, and it's time to deglaze it with 1 medium yellow onion that I finely chopped. The onion is going to release some juice and do the first deglazing here. I'll be creating more fond as I go because this is the secret to the flavor of this soup. Then add 4 large garlic cloves grated. After stirring it in, add 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic salt, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of white pepper powder or ground black pepper, and 1 pack of Sazon for now. Any flavor will do, but this is the one I like to use in this particular soup. Notice that there is more fond being developed at the bottom of the pan. I went ahead and stirred all the seasonings in so they don't burn, and added about half a cup of water to deglaze it for the second time. Look how beautiful the base of this soup is getting already. I went ahead and added another pack of Sazon and stirred it in so it can dissolve in that sauce that's forming in with the beef. The smell has been incredible, by the way. I want to make this sauce even creamier and more flavorful by adding a couple of large Knorr beef bouillon cubes broken up into small pieces. Seasoning is to taste, so you may replace any of the seasonings with the ones that you like. You can just add salt and pepper and this soup will still be delicious. Okay, so now I add 2 bay leaves. This is the brand I like to use. It's more expensive, but it's worth every penny because the bay leaves are whole and green, as opposed to those you see around that are all brown and broken up. I placed a link in the written recipe that is in the description of this video. Every recipe video I have released has a written recipe and links to a lot of the products I use in my videos and in my daily life. I have an herb garden out in my patio year-round, which is great, and I love to add fresh herbs to my soups. So I went outside and grabbed some thyme sprigs. I removed the little leaves from the stems, and it totaled about 1 teaspoon. I let more fond develop, and I deglaze it again with a little more water, about half a cup. And if you like this recipe, please like, share it with your friends and family, and consider subscribing as well. The beef looks succulent already, and it hasn't even fully cooked yet. There's more fond, so this time I'm deglazing it with a 14.5-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes. I didn't have any fresh tomatoes, but when I do, I use 3 to 4 tomatoes on the vine, cored, seeded, peeled, and finely diced. I like this soup to be tomatoey, so I also add 14.5 ounces of tomato sauce. I am using a Brazilian brand here, but any canned tomato sauce will do. You may even skip the tomato sauce and add water or beef broth instead. I guarantee the soup will be delicious either way. The whole time just about, I had the exhaust fan on high, but it still steamed like crazy. At this point, I add half a quart of water, and so far I used a total of 1 quart of water. And by the way, I always use filtered water in my recipes. We have a couple of great filters here at home that we have been using for years, and we love them. They appear on a couple of my videos. The Brazilian feijoada video, it's the black bean and meat stew, and the mashed potato video. I put links in the description in case you're interested in getting one. We initially purchased the 3-gallon filter, but it wasn't big enough for us, so we also purchased the 6-gallon filter. We used a small one just for our dogs and cats. Hey, they need to drink good water too. Now back to the soup. I tasted the broth for salt and seasoning, and it is perfect. So I put on the lid like that, increased the heat a little bit, and let it cook for 30 minutes, stirring occasionally. If you see that there is anything stuck to the bottom of the pan, scrape it with a metal spatula and turn the heat down. After 30 minutes of cooking, the broth evaporated a little bit, so I added a little more water, stirred it, and completely covered the pan. If you make this soup using a pressure cooker, let the beef cook on high pressure for about 10 minutes, since the pieces of beef are small. After 1 hour of cooking on the stove top, the beef is pretty tender, but not falling apart, and that's how we want it. Now it's time to add the vegetables. Here I have 1.5 cups of diced carrots. I did a large dice. 2 stalks or 1 cup of sliced celery, 1 cup or 1 medium sweet potato diced the same size as the carrots, and 3 russet potatoes or 3 cups that I peeled, diced, and placed in a glass bowl with 2 cups of filtered water so they wouldn't brown. Add the carrots, celery, and sweet potatoes to the pot. Stir. Add 1 quart of water. And add the russet potatoes with water and all. Stir well to combine. Cover the pan and let it all cook for about 10 minutes or until the vegetables are a little bit done, stirring occasionally on medium heat. At this point, there's no need to cover the pan. Now here comes my favorite ingredient, the pasta. And you know that when it comes to pasta, the possibilities are endless. I love using this one right here, Ditalini, because when it cooks, it complements the size of the beef and the vegetables, creating a uniform soup. So I add 2 cups of it. If you never tried it, I suggest you do. You are going to love it so much you will be telling everyone about it. And the kids and grandkids will love it too because it's smaller and easier to eat. And from this point on, you will just have to stir the pasta a lot so it doesn't stick like with any other pasta, and cook the soup until the pasta is done. And since the broth is thick, it will take about 15 minutes for the pasta to cook, and the soup will only get thicker and heartier. You stir occasionally, watch it like a hawk, and like I said before, if you feel that anything is sticking to the bottom of the pan, turn the heat down a little bit and scrape the pan with a flat metal spatula. Semi-close the pan and continue cooking for 10 more minutes. Try the pasta and cook it to your liking. I like mine well cooked. After the pasta cooks is a good time to remove the bay leaves. I found one and started looking for the other, and when I didn't find it, I figured it was stuck to the side of the pan. Sure enough. Now that the soup is done, I turn off the heat and add 1/4 cup of fresh parsley and 1 green onion chopped. This is totally optional. I just like a little touch of fresh greens at the end. Remove the pan from the heat. Let it stand for about 5 minutes or so, and it's ready to be served and enjoyed. We like it creamy here at home, so I'm okay with the thicker consistency. As the soup stands, the pasta is going to absorb some of the broth and get a little more plump. If you prefer a more brothy soup rather than creamy, just add water, beef broth, or beef stock. This is the soup that has been missing from your life, a succulent, delicious, thick, full of body beef vegetable, and best of all, Ditalini soup. I'm not a psychic, but I know you can tell how wonderful this soup is. This homemade hearty soup is going to become a staple at your home. Everyone is going to ask you to make it often. And when you think this is delicious already, The leftovers will taste even better the next day. The perfect bite. I ate this bowl of soup after the video and I was Stephanopoulos. I hope you love and try my recipe. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time.